Hello, everypony.
Hi, everypony.
As you can see from our video count, we have reached our 200th video, and as you can see, we are reacting to Silent Ponyville 2.
Number dos. We figured that the 200th video would be good for a Grimdark would be good for the 200 since we don't do Grimdark that often.
Yeah, and we know that Azka did a reading of Silent Ponyville 2, but he never finished it.
So we figured we would do our own, and we were going to finish it for you.
Yeah.
So
I saw all the endings. We're not going to do all of them. We're going to look through them and find out which one is the best ending. So if you want to look at all the endings, we don't give a fuck. Go to fanfiction and go right ahead.
Now, I guess if we get enough like people do the rest of the endings, do the rest of the endings. If we get like 100 people saying do the rest of the endings, we'll have no choice. We got to listen to the fans.
Yeah, whatever. But anyways, here we go. Silent Ponyville 2 by J. Karatagu. Chapter 1. How does it make that sound? A young filly stared, hypnotized by a gentle music caressing her ears. The small box before her let out a harmony that reminded her of angels. The warm body next to her grew closer, nuzzling up against her. I don't know the details myself. An older, mere soothing voice swept through her ears as if the voice itself was trying to hug her. The voice was soft yet delicate, but it's just like an instrument. Every piece is finely tuned so that when a chord is struck, it plays a gentle note. But it only plays one song, the young filly mused as she continued to stare, comforted by the warmth of the other with her. And it seems a little sad. She leaned her head against the bigger body, resting against it. Yes, I suppose it does sound a little sad. The older mare smiled warmly, her long mane falling in the filly's face. The filly giggled as the hair tickled her face, before moving out of its way to smile at the music box. But this music box is very special to me, the older mare sighed happily. I like it, the filly smiled happily, closing her eyes as she listened. The melody softly flowing through her ears, she couldn't help but think it was beautiful.
I'm confused already.
Please never forget that I love you. The older mare's voice grew quiet with those words. I know, Mother. I love you too. The filly nuzzled against her mother happily. The old mare grew quiet as the filly nuzzled against her mother. There was a silence that filled the air, only being filled by a gentle and calming music from the box. Mother? The young filly broke the silence, but it soon returned. The chimes of the music box seemed to slow down, drawing out each individual note. Mother? She called again, lifting her head up and trying to look at her mother. The older mare had suddenly grown quiet. Mother, say something, the filly pleaded, pushing against her mother with her hooves, trying to get her attention. The mare's body felt like it was growing colder. Wobbling a bit before falling over, the older mare lay on the floor, her hair looking like cobwebs on the ground, and her coat growing dull. Her unmoving form framed against the darkness of the ground.
She's dead.
Yeah. Mother! The young filly cried, pushing her hooves against her mother as the music box continued to slow down, each note ringing in her head that something was wrong. The filly moved her hands? Are you sure you didn't mean to say hooves? Away from her mother and stared at her hooves. Her blood-covered hooves. The body of the mare was withering away, blood escaping from underneath her body.
Damn.
Mother? Mother? Mother! The filly cried as tears began to stream from her eyes, shaking her mother's body to wake her. To tell her everything was alright, the music from the box died.
God damn, I could never watch my mother die in front of me. If it ever did happen, fuck. I would need the help of a friend.
Yeah. The body of the filly's mother turned to dust as it vanished in the wind, leaving nothing but the blood that had been spilled. The filly shook and cried, tears drenching her cheeks. She touched the bloodstain on the floor, trying to feel any remaining heat that told her mother was still here.
What?
The blood was cold, no sign of life to it. The music box started to play once more, but it no longer played the sad but beautiful song. The music box hissed a horrifying sound as if bees suddenly filled the box. The filly looked up into the darkness, terror filling her core. Red eyes gleamed as a presence made itself known. It towered over the filly as it drew closer, its body cloaked in darkness. The darkness itself flickered and flowed up its body, its mouth opening, revealing a gaping hole of white filled with jagged black. The presence of the creature crushed the filly. She couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. She was paralyzed by the very thing that stood before her. With a single swift movement, the creature closed the distance. You think that creature was the Slender Pony?
Maybe.
Just don't forget the Slender Pony was in the first Silent Ponyville.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And man, I'm telling you, if this fanfic, judging from the picture, revolves around Fluttershy, God, Fluttershy is gonna be scared as hell.
She'll face her fears somehow, just like Pinkie Pie did.
Yeah, but she could easily get hurt.
Well, of course, anybody could get hurt. I mean, have you? You haven't played the Silent Pony. The Silent.
Not to mention tossed, squashed, and scared practically to death.
Can you not do that, please? I'm begging you.
I had to do that to make the viewers laugh.
Still.
Okay, the creature closed the distance. Its teeth sunk into the filly's neck, lifting her up and holding her as if a prize. Tears continued to stream down the filly's face as blood slipped down her body. The creature growled before dropping the filly on top of the dust of her mother. The filly could do nothing but stare into the darkness of the world. Even that darkness was soon fading into a separate darkness. What could be darker than darkness?
Death.
The filly's vision was filled with the beast. Its jagged white mouth turned into a grin as it once more drew its teeth at the filly's face. Fluttershy awoke with a scream.
Oh, it was just a nightmare.
She panted heavily as she sat staring at her pillow in the darkness, the covers hanging on her shoulders, her body soaked in sweat. The cold night air filled her burning, aching lungs. She put a hoop to her face, feeling the fresh tears that had been streaming from her face. She hiccuped softly and tried to rub them away, still feeling fresh ones, wanting freedom as well. Something rustled under the covers next to her, and as she froze, turning her head, she heard a moan of something waking up. Another one? Rainbow Dash groaned, sitting up from her spot on the bed, rubbing her eyes. How many is that now? At least 10? She let out a yawn, obviously still not used to being woken up in the middle of the night constantly. I'm sorry, Fluttershy hiccuped, squeezing her eyes shut as she desperately tried to hold her tears back and keep her body from shaking. I keep waking you up. I shouldn't have asked you to try and comfort me. Fluttershy shuddered, her words, lumps forming in her throat as her tears escaped her shut eyelids. Rainbow put a hoop to her face. She shifted on the bed before wrapping a hoop comfortingly around her mere front shoulders. Really? Fluttershy leaned into Rainbow's chest and sobbed softly into her. Come on, Fluttershy. You should know by now that me sleeping isn't as important as you feeling better. Rainbow said quietly, lowering her head closer to Fluttershy's. Fluttershy didn't reply, only continuing with her soft sobs. So me spending the last few nights here hasn't helped your nightmares. That's no big deal. It just shows us how serious this is, Rainbow Dash said, trying her best to offer comforting words, something she wasn't used to.
Deja vu, because wasn't Pinkie Pie having nightmares in Silent Ponyville 1?
You're right, deja vu.
Oh dear, I'm so scared for Shy right now.
Fluttershy couldn't help. Fluttershy could only let out a whimper in response. The nightmares terrified her.
I don't blame her.
She was barely able to fall asleep anymore, knowing they were waiting for her inside of her own mind. She didn't want to sleep anymore. She wanted to stay up and be rid of the dreams. But her body was exhausted. It demanded sleep. But her mind screamed to stay awake. The conflict inside her only brought out more tears.
God damn, that's so horrible. You ever had a nightmare that has made you wake up and you're just like in a cold sweat?
Yeah, once or twice.
It happened to me a few times, and it was horrible.
Yeah. Rainbow looked out into the darkness of Fluttershy's room and she desperately tried to think of something to do, to say, if only I was a smarter... Rainbow dashed out to herself, and then a light bulb had been turned on in Rainbow's mind. Fluttershy, in the morning let's go see Twilight. I'm sure she can help with these nightmares.
Oh no.
I mean, she's got all kinds of books. I'm sure she'll have something that can help with this. That's exactly what happened in Silent Ponyville 1.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Pinkie Pie went to see Twilight, and next thing we knew, she was in Silent Ponyville.
This is gonna be interesting. I'm actually getting kind of excited.
Rainbow spoke eagerly but softly, making sure Fluttershy heard her. Do you really think she can help? Fluttershy asked, managing to wipe her face as her sobs softened.
Drink a cup of coffee. You'll be fine.
Yeah, of course she can, Rainbow said confidently, nuzzling up against Fluttershy.
Oh.
She's Twilight. Even if she can't find an answer, we can ask Celestia. We'll be rid of these nightmares before you know it. Thank you, Fluttershy smiled softly, her tears finally stopping.
I will admit though, there was only one time where I actually woke up and was crying because of a nightmare.
Hey, what's a mere friend for? Rainbow grinned, kissing Fluttershy's forehead. Aww.
Yeah.
I still don't feel like sleeping though, Fluttershy said, staring at the pillow of her bed. It was still deep in the middle of the night. Rainbow said and thought she wasn't sure what to say for that. She looked up at the ceiling and thought about it. She let off a small struggle unintentionally as the thought rolled through her mind. I guess it's now or never then.
I gotta fuck.
Huh? Fluttershy said, confused as she felt herself being pushed down onto the bed. She looked up at Rainbow Dash as she lay on her back, Rainbow now climbing on top of Fluttershy before kissing Fluttershy deeply.
Knew they were gonna fuck.
Maybe that's why there was a romance tag in here.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, I'll take your mind off those nightmares so you can finish resting, Rainbow grinned, blushing deeply. Fluttershy blushed in return, surprised but accepting as she closed her eyes, their lips meeting once more.
Ah, assholes!
I expected that. It wasn't a mature rating.
I'm so upset right now.
Shouldn't you clear the clouds? Fluttershy asked, yawning as her and Rainbow Dash walked through the town, the warm sun only slightly obscured by a few clouds lingering in the sky. This is more important, Rainbow said, rubbing Fluttershy's head lightly. I can clear the clouds in a snap. Let's get you feeling better first, Rainbow grinned. I suppose, Fluttershy rubbed her eyes, still trying to get rid of the sleepiness. She had started to develop bags from under her eyes from lack of sleep, but nothing severe.
Yeesh. Wish the alert wasn't so loud. Ooh.
Suppose nothing. Suppose nothing. It is more important, Rainbow said, once more trying to build Fluttershy's confidence. Just focus on getting better. Everything else can wait until then. Getting better? Is Fluttershy sick? Oh, wait.
Getting better.
Oh,
wait.
Getting better? Is Fluttershy sick?
Oh,
Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy stopped and they looked behind them, seeing Pinkie Pie standing behind them with a basket filled with letters. Probably more party invitations.
Ugh.
Oh, hey, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow said, turning to smile at her pink friend. And no, she's not really sick. She's just been having some really bad nightmares lately. We're going to see Twilight to see if Twilight can help. The silence was almost deafening despite its brevity. The basket and Pinkie's hoof fell, hitting the ground with what seemed like a loud thud, the letters spilling out before it. Nightmares? Pinkie shuddered, a look of shock on her face.
Uh-oh.
Pinkie, you dropped your basket, Rainbow said, pointing to it. No time for that, Pinkie said, both quickly rushing to Fluttershy's side. She looked Fluttershy over, causing the yellow Pegasus to flinch a little. Before Pinkie took into her face, how bad are these nightmares? How long have you been having them?
Oh, she knows what's going on.
They're awful, Fluttershy squeaked, answering though intimidated by Pinkie Pie's actions. I've been waking up crying for at least the last week and a half now. I thought Rainbow Dash could help make them go away, but they still haven't stopped. So Rainbow suggested we go see Twilight. Pinkie stared, mouth agape at Fluttershy. Fluttershy began to sweat a little, not understanding what was going on through the pink pony's head. Pinkie Pie then looked serious for a moment before turning her head from Fluttershy as if she was in a serious mental contemplation. I see. Going to see Twilight is the natural assumption to make, Pinkie mumbled to herself. Pinkie Pie, what's going on? You're acting even stranger than you normally do. Rainbow looked at Pinkie Pie, confused by her actions. It's nothing, Pinkie lied, stepping back from Fluttershy. I'm going to Twilight's with you. It sounded more like a demand than an offer. Oh, no, it's okay, Pink. I'm going with you, Pinkie interrupted Fluttershy, not backing down. Okay. Fluttershy meekly agreed as Pinkie then nodded, taking the lead and heading to Twilight's house. Rainbow Dash looked at the once scattered letters on the ground, picking them up and looking at the pink envelope curiously. What's gotten into Pinkie Pie? Fluttershy asked, looking at Rainbow Dash, confused about what just happened. I don't know, but she's putting off inviting us to a party for it. Rainbow Dash showed the envelope to her. Wow. This is serious, Fluttershy said in a bit of shock. Hey, come on, we need to get to Twilight's house. Hey, come on, we need to get to Twilight's house. Like, right now.
Lols.
Pinkie Pie called out to the two mares after realizing they hadn't immediately followed. I think it's best if we do what she says for now, Rainbow said, not wanting the chance to think what else a serious Pinkie Pie might do. Right, Fluttershy agreed as the two of them quickly followed after Pinkie. Oh, hey Pinkie. Twilight, we've got a serious problem. Pinkie barged into Twilight's house without giving the purple unicorn a chance to pose a greeting. I didn't mean my problem as big as last time I visited you with a problem. Huh? Do you mean the nightmares are back? Twilight asked a little confused, looking Pinkie over. But your mane is fine. No. Oh no, the problem isn't with me this time, Pinkie said, pointing out the door she had just had so casually walked through. Twilight turned her head to see Rainbow Dash walking in as well. Geez, Pinkie, was running here really important? Rainbow huffed as she moved past Twilight. This is a big deal, sure, but Fluttershy's not good at high-speed pursuits. But there was a need to run, Dashy. Trust me on this one. We need to fix this ASAP. Pinkie tried to get Rainbow to understand. Is Dash having the problem? Twilight asked, looking curiously at her rainbow-haired friend. No, it's not her, Pinkie said, pointing to the door once more. Twilight turned once more to see Fluttershy slowly making her way in as well. Sorry for the interruption, Twilight. I hope we aren't disturbing you from anything important, Fluttershy apologized.
Just like Fluttershy.
No, it's no trouble, Fluttershy. I was just catching up on studying, Twilight smiled comfortingly. But is something troubling you, Fluttershy? Oh, well, yes, that's actually why we came to see you, Fluttershy said, scraping her foot against the ground. I've been having trouble sleeping, and I was hoping you could help. Trouble sleeping, nothing, Rainbow said, moving to stand next to Fluttershy. Fluttershy's been having some nasty nightmares that have been keeping her up. She's unable to sleep and dreads having to go to bed. We're hoping you could help us out, Twilight, Dash explained in more detail. Heh. Well, I do happen to know one spell that works on Twilight's words became muffled as a pink hoof was jammed into her mouth. No, we're not using that spell, Pinkie explained. Why not? Twilight asked her after removing the hoof from her mouth. 'Cause we're not, Pinkie said, closing her eyes as if not wanting to budge. We have to find some other way to help Fluttershy. Oh yeah, because I think after Twilight cast that spell, Pinkie Pie ended up in Silent Ponyville.
Correct.
After that spell. But the spell worked so well last time, why shouldn't I use it now? Twilight was very confused. Pinkie Pie had explained to her that the spell had let her come to terms with the tragedy of her sister's passing, but she hadn't explained exactly what had happened during the spell that led to the revelation. All Twilight had seen during the delve appeared to be a picture was to be a war picture sitting against a foggy backdrop. As she had tried to study the picture, it kept changing before her till the mind delve disconnected itself in a flash of light. Trust me, Twilight, using this on Fluttershy will end badly, so we're going to help her without it, Pinkie explained. But it's so much easier just to use the spell. It only takes a few minutes, and I'll have helped her with the nightmares. Doesn't that make sense? Fluttershy did battle Pinkie with her logic, and already losing battle. Even if it does, it's not happening, Pinkie retorted back. Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash looked at each other very confused as Pinkie and Twilight went back and forth. They had no idea what their friends were talking about. So, what exactly are we doing to help Fluttershy then? Rainbow finally asked, interrupting the back and forth between the two bickering ponies. Ugh, fine, I'll go get my copy of Dreams, A Psychological Understanding, Twilight said, walking away from the pink mare who sat there looking victorious.
Niche.
Thank you, Twilight. I assure you this will be best for every pony. Pinkie then bounced over to Fluttershy, putting her hoop around her shoulders while offering a comforting smile. Don't worry, Fluttershy. I promise we'll make your bad dreams go away. You really think this will work? Fluttershy looked at Pinkie with hope. Looked at Pinkie for hope. If any pony can help make things better, it's Twilight. I'm sure of it. Pinkie smiled happily. Alright, Twilight said, returning with a floating copy of the book, opening up and flipping through several places. The first thing I need to do is see what kind of dreams you're having. Since we won't be jumping to the state of the mind delve spell, there are other solutions listed here that might work depending on the severity of your dreams. Twilight explained before placing the book down on the table in the center of the house. Oh, how will you know that? Fluttershy asked curiously. There is a spell in this book that will let me see the dreams you've been having. I'll be able to judge for myself how severe they are, Twilight said, walking over to Fluttershy. But Fluttershy began to protest. Don't worry, Fluttershy. Twilight knows what she's doing, right? Rainbow asked while trying to comfort the worried Pegasus. Of course. Now this will only take a moment, Twilight smiled, not wanting for Fluttershy to give another response before gently sweeping her hair away from her forehead, tapping her glowing horn against the Fluttershy's against the Fluttershy's forehead. I think you mean just against Fluttershy's forehead.
I want to fly, I want to fly. I don't want to fly, I don't want to fly, I don't want to fly.
I don't want to fly, I don't want to fly, I don't want to fly. The words screamed again and again, bouncing in her skull, driving her mad. Her wings were beating as fast and as strong as they could, despite every ounce of her being telling her to stop them. Her whole body was crying out for relief, pain filling her back and legs. Her wings were bent horribly misshapen, not even looking like they could lift her. But they carried her through the sky. Tears swept across her face as every 5 sent pain shooting through her back, scratching away at her mind, eroding her sanity. This must be what Twilight's seeing. A loud roar pierced her ears as she shook her whole being. Her head painfully but slowly turned to look behind her, as a giant figure had appeared from behind the clouds, billowing smoke as it soared at high speed straight for her. Her legs flailed, feeling as if every moment snapped a bone and tore her muscle. The large beast opened its jaws before its gigantic teeth sunk straight down into her flesh. Oh, wait, that's too far down. She wanted to scream, but no voice came to her. She wanted to close her eyes, but her body would not obey her. She wanted to shut down and die, but her body didn't comply. The swirls of tortured screams filled every inch of her twisted faces, and horrified cries screamed out to her. The one word repeated itself endlessly in her mind. Pain. And then it says pain here and all red a few times. I'm not gonna say pain over and over again for at least 30 or 40 seconds.
Pain times 20, we'll say.
Yeah. There was nothing to decipher, only the red horror that swirled around her. It bellowed and cried, it screeched and it hollered, but its suffering would not end. Neither would hers. Everything assaulted her mind, and she felt the pain as if every fiber of her being was destroyed by the horror before her. Oops, did I go what?
Yeah, you remember you had it set up.
Her knife came down. It stuck its target. She brought the knife back up. She swung it down. Her target hit again. Her actions repeated again and again. One flew in motion after another. Her knife struck the body before her. She was coated already, coated in warm liquid as she had caused to splatter all over.
It must have been another thing.
Each fresh strike sent down another burst of warm liquid against her body. A smile was on her face, one that had been there for a long time as she had stared. She made fresh holes in fresh liquid with each strike. Punching the knife in and out of the pony before her seemed to bring satisfaction.
God damn.
They deserved this. She deserved this for being the one to do this to them. This is how it was supposed to be. She plunged the knife down one last time, panting as she looked excitedly at her work. The punctured body did not move or twitch. It just laid there. The body would never move again. She tossed the knife to the side and leaned forward, nuzzling the body as she smiled. This was love.
Damn. I'm so confused.
Twilight stepped back as the memories of the dreams filled her mind. She grimaced as her stomach did a flip, a knot forming at her throat. They were horrific dreams, dreams filled with pain, suffering, insanity, and loss. They weren't just simple nightmares. No, she had seen dreams like this before.
Oh.
Are you okay, Twilight? Fluttershy asked nervously, not sure what to expect Twilight's reaction to be. Yeah, I'm fine, Twilight finally managed to say after swallowing the knot in her throat. You're awfully pale for being okay, Rainbow said, looking at Twilight worriedly. She didn't think that the nightmares would have been so bad as to make Twilight lose a shade of color. Well, you didn't go stumbling back into the bookcase this time. We weren't as bad, Pinkie. Were they not as bad? Pinkie asked, tilting her head curiously. Oh, they're very bad. Twilight rubbed her head a little. But they're bad in a different way. I don't know if I can make an accurate comparison. At the very least, they felt the same in intensity. So, what do I do? Fluttershy asked meekly. Hold on, I need to consult the book, Twilight said, shaking her head lightly before levitating it over to herself, flipping through the pages and reading a few more passages. There's a lot of spells in here for minor nightmares, soothing remedies, relaxation methods, normal and magical psychology evaluations. But, Twilight sighed, looking at Pinkie. With what I just saw, there's only one spell in here strong enough to find out what's happening in Fluttershy's mind. Are you absolutely sure? There's no other spell in that book? Pinkie asked, desperate to not have to turn to that answer. I'm sure, Pinkie. The mind-delve spell is going to be our best solution. Why are you so against using that spell, Pinkie? Because she had to face her own nightmares and it was terrifying. Rainbow asked, looking strangely at her Earth Pony friend. You said it helped you before. Why shouldn't we use it on Fluttershy? Pinkie was silent. She thought about it for a moment before seriously looking at Twilight. Twilight, read to me the spell's description. Twilight flipped back to the exact page of the spell and began to read. The mind-delve spell is used in cases where the nightmare or psychology problems are not so easily discernible. This often means that the problem is rooted deep within the patient's subconscious and cannot be obtained through normal psychological methods without spending a very long time treating the patient. This spell allows the user to shorten the necessary time needed in order to bring the patient to a full recovery. Each patient under the spell is used experiences different results as the subconscious is molded by the patient who owns it. No two patients will likely experience the same recovery under the use of the spell.
That doesn't sound like a recovery spell. What happened to Pinkie Pie sounds like a spell that's basically telling you to go fuck yourself and face your goddamn fear.
Yeah. Pinkie Pie thought about those words carefully. Something seemed to be spinning the wheels in her head. Okay, Pinkie finally said, breaking from thought. We can use the mind-delve spell on Fluttershy.
Ooh.
Under one condition, though. What? Twilight asked, blinking a little confused. You have to find a way to put me into Fluttershy's mind when you do it. You want to go into my mind? Fluttershy asked, very surprised. Yes, I won't let you go through this alone, Fluttershy. I'm going to be there with you to help you with your problem. Pinkie said, turning her head slightly, shifting her mane so Fluttershy could see it better. I wear this red ribbon as a testament that my friends are dear to me. So that means if they're in trouble, then I'm going to help them, and I'm going to see you through this, Fluttershy. So you can not only feel better, but so you don't have to be alone while doing it. Pinkie smiled.
Huh. So it's gonna be Pinkie and Fluttershy.
And that red ribbon, remember?
Yeah, I do.
She got it from Gummy.
Yeah, because he was dead, and like, God damn, that was so sad. Why did Gummy have to die?
Well, then I'm going too, Rainbow said, stepping closer to Fluttershy. I just can't let my mare friend do something like this without me. I'm going to be there for her till the very end. Rainbow grinned, nuzzling against Fluttershy.
Yeah.
Fluttershy blushed as she smiled softly. Thank you. Both of you. Ugh, Twilight put a hoof to her face. I don't even know how to do that, Twilight said as she walked towards the bookshelf. You guys are going to have to give me a moment. There's nothing in dreams, a psychologically understanding that explains how to link minds together. She said as she began to levitate books off the shelf, checking each tile before pushing them off to the side. There was a distinct sound of her mumbling, something about how she shouldn't have sent Spike off on a shopping trip that day. This could take a while, Rainbow said, looking at the two other mares. Let's play some games to pass the time, Pinkie chimed in happily.
Oh.
That sounds fun, Fluttershy smiled. Jamie! Pinkie grinned happily, having victoriously jumped several dashes pieces before arriving at the opposite end of the checkers board. No, they were playing checkers. Man, Pinkie, how are you so good at this? Rainbow furrowed her brow as she looked at the board. She was very close she was clearly losing for the 5th time now. Pinkie had just obtained her 3rd king.
Loss.
Years of practice, Dashy, Pinkie chuckled as she awaited her opponent's next move. I think you've both been doing very well, Fluttershy smiled, having enjoyed watching the matches.
She's probably just watching.
Okay, Twilight suddenly declared very loudly, putting the shelf she had been studying vigorously down. I think I've got something. By using a mixture of various spells, I should be able to get all of you into share of Fluttershy's mind-meld. I don't know how well it'll work at the moment. It's all a theory, but I made theories work before. I can do it again. Twilight nodded, walking towards her friends. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
It's gonna be good.
Exactly. Whenever in Star Wars if someone says I have a bad feeling about this, you know something good's going to happen.
Just like that gif. This gonna be good.
Oh, good. I was getting tired of this game anyway, Rainbow said, standing up, waving a hoop at the board. Only 'cause you were losing, Pinkie chuckled before hopping up as well, before turning to Twilight and looking a little serious. Are you absolutely sure this to work, Twilight? Absolutely. When have you ever known me to mess up a spell once I was confident how well it worked? Twilight asked curiously. Pinkie put a hoof to her chin as she looked off into the side before mumbling under her breath. Well, not in continuity. What was that? Twilight said, having not heard her well. Nothing. Pinkie smiled before turning to look at Fluttershy. Are you ready for this, Fluttershy? I guess I'm as ready as I'll ever be, she said, walking next to Pinkie. Well, I'll have you feeling better in no time. Just you wait, Rainbow Dash smiled, standing next to Fluttershy as well, smiling her confident smile.
Yep.
Alright then, here goes. Twilight's horn lit up, glowing brightly as she concentrated. She walked up to her 3 friends who stood before her, gently tapping her horn against each of their foreheads. A thin blue line attached to her horn that stretched from their foreheads with each tap. The light surrounding her horn grew brighter as she stepped forward before tapping her horn against Fluttershy's forehead. At that instant, the world felt like it had slipped from under Fluttershy's hooves. Everything felt hazy as her body almost felt numb. She couldn't keep track of her surroundings, though it felt like she was falling. The only indication that she felt like she was moving was the sensation of wind rolling around her. She tumbled and fell through a hazy fog, and her mind unable to comprehend anything. She let out a sharp gasp as air finally returned to her lungs. She panted for a moment before her eyes fluttered open. She got her bearings slowly as the world began to come into view before her. She was still inside of Twilight's house, however, it was now missing that particular purple unicorn. Ugh, Twilight, what's the big idea? That spell... It was Rainbow's voice she had heard next. She turned to her and saw her mare friend already standing up, looking around for Twilight. Wait, where'd she go? Ugh, I don't think I could ever get used to that. It was Pinkie's turn to speak. Rainbow and Fluttershy looked behind them to see her groggily stand up. But I'm glad to see she got it to work, she smiled, seeing her two friends. What's going on, Pinkie? Where's Twilight? Rainbow asked, looking around confused at their missing unicorn friend. That's normal. She's not going to be here with us, Pinkie said, looking around quickly. She got up and ran to a nearby window, looking out. She grew quiet as she stared out the window. Pinkie Pie? Fluttershy asked, looking at her friend oddly. Is this what you went through when Twilight helped you? Rainbow asked curiously. There was silence for a moment. Rainbow and Fluttershy looked at each other, a little confused before Pinkie Pie finally spoke back up. Yes, she turned away from the window, looking at her two friends with a serious look. It's almost exactly the same as what I went through, and it's exactly the same reason why I said I had to come. Pinkie said, galloping across the library to a shelf, putting out a map from it. What do you mean? Fluttershy asked as Pinkie brought the map over to the table, Fluttershy and Rainbow walking up to look at it. We're going to need this to keep track of where we are, Pinkie explained, pointing out the map of Ponyville that she had unfurled before them. Pinkie looked up at the map, seeing that the bag lay on the table as well. Fluttershy, you should be the one to take that bag, Pinkie explained, pointing to it. Why? Fluttershy asked, confused, grabbing the bag and pulling it closer, opening it. Trust me, we're going to need it. Is there
some kind of instrument
inside of it? Pinkie asked, seeing Fluttershy look inside. Almost as if to answer Pinkie's question, Pinkie's words, a soft, haunting melody began to slowly play from the bag. Fluttershy carefully reached in, pulling out an old music box that was playing the soft tune. Fluttershy stared at the music box in shock. This is the music box my mother owned. What's it doing here? Rainbow asked, looking at it curiously. I don't know. I lost it a long time ago. How did it get here? Fluttershy wondered quietly. The music box slowly faded to a stop as she continued to stare at the music box. Pinkie Pie rolled up the map of Ponyville before placing it in the bag. Come on, let's head out, Pinkie said, smiling at Fluttershy before heading out the front door. Head out? Where are we going to? Rainbow looked at the confused at her pink friend. We're going to Fluttershy's cottage. If we're going to find any answers, I think that's the first place we need to check, Pinkie explained as she opened the door.
I got $10 that they're gonna find Angel dead.
Maybe.
Well, they found Gummy dead, so you know.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
And do you think if we do decide to do Silent Ponyville 3, from what I saw in the picture, it involves Twilight? Do you think Owlicious will be dead?
More than likely, either that or Spike.
That would be even worse.
I mean, Spike's not her pet, but, you know, he lives with her so much, so...
Or what if...
That would be terrible.
But Princess Celestia is also on the cover. What if Philomena's dead?
Ooh, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Answers to the nightmares? Rainbow thought in confusion. What were you about to say?
I got a theory now. You know, Twilight's not having any nightmares. What about Celestia having the nightmares? But Twilight decides to go into the dream with her.
Interesting.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah, if we decide to.
We probably will.
Answers to the nightmares? Rainbow thought in confusion. What does this strange place have to do with them? Why are we even here? Fluttershy gently put the music box back in the bag and listened to Rainbow Dash's question. She closed the bag, which had a clasp of the blue and pink butterfly. She gently lifted the bag and placed it on her back to carry with her. I can't say for sure what this place is, but I think we're inside Fluttershy's mind, but at the same time, it feels too solid to just be our imaginations, Pinkie scuffed the floor softly as she explained. The only thing I know for sure is that we need to be ready for anything. Pinkie opened the front door, stepping outside. Let's follow her, Fluttershy said, smiling at Rainbow. She seems to know what she's talking about, so we should follow her till we get our bearings. Okay, I suppose that makes sense, Rainbow said before following after Pinkie Pie. Fluttershy followed the same, stepping out of the front door to Twilight's house. Hey! What's with this weather? Rainbow cried out in confusion. Fluttershy stood in shock. Ponyville had fallen into a thick fog. No building could be seen past a few feet in front of their eyes.
Yes. Yep, the end. Fuck you.
The end of the first chapter. Okay, now things are getting good.
It's gonna be fun.
Alright, this is JTH.
Mr. Tailsthehero.
And that was the jump start to our 200th video special, Silent Ponyville 2, and we will see you in part 2. And to answer your question, yes, we are going to do one chapter per part. Goodbye.